Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch, and your facilitator tonight here at the Captain's Table. What is the Captain's Table? It's where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. We talk about the news, we talk about specific topics every so often, and this is a specific topic one. And it's one that I do almost yearly now. I think we do it twice a year almost. But sometime in July, Crew reached out to me and was like, "Paul, we want to come on and talk at Atmo used to come out." I'm like, "Yeah, go for it. Let's do it." Yeah. And I completely blanked on it. And to Crew, just like poke. I want to come on, Paul. Come on. I'm like, "Yeah, cool. We'll do it. Let's do it." And it just so happened that we had some incredible timing here with this, with Atmo Esports coming on and all of this news that CHE released in the last couple of weeks. So, I'll just give you the basic rundown, y'all, for what we're doing. We're talking with two members of Atmo Esports. You'll know Atmo Esports from things like Stanton 7, Fight or Flight, Daymar Rally, a bunch of other things. And before we go into more detail, let's introduce the individuals. Let's start with you, Crew. Crew, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? So I'm Christian Gaming. I've been in this community for quite some time, since 2015. I was a full-time content creator, but unfortunately, I don't stream as often anymore. I do stream part-time. You guys can find me on twitch.tv/Crucian Gaming. Currently, I am doing a lot for Atmo Esports, helping them behind the scenes, mainly partnerships, social media. I'm the one that runs the entire Atmo Esports account. I also, when I'm home, I'm one of the main casters. I also help run production and pretty much everything else. So I went from full-time content creation in Star Citizen to helping the community run these events behind the scenes, which has been incredibly fun. So
nice. You still work for Atmo or not Atmo, Astro, right?
Yes, I still work for. I'm still an esports manager at Astro Gaming /Logitech. Correct.
Yeah, I was just say Astro Gaming. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I need to talk with Astro at some point. It's in my name. I need to. But next we have Zool. I'm going to say it wrong, but the gatekeeper, the keymaster. I can't remember. But Zool, who are you?
There's only Zool.
There is only Zool. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
So I've been with Star Citizen since the very, very beginning. First day of Kickstarter. I am a retired person who plays pretty much video games all day, every day. I have done so many things with the Star Citizen community. I love helping out machinima groups. I love helping out anybody in the verse who's doing something good. I'm always happy to take my significant amount of time and effort and throw it behind them to try to help them make it better. As far as Atmo Esports goes, I actually am the race coordinator and the head of communications. I'm the one that speaks to the racers, gets them all set up, gets them ready for the races, make sure that everybody has the proper rule books and has all of the information they need in order to do our events, because we have quite a few that go on all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means handling upwards of 800 people at a time for like the Daymar Rally, which is a huge undertaking. As far as Atmo Esports goes, I actually started out as a racer, and this is one of the cool things about Atmo Esports. I started out as a racer in the Daymar Rally. The group of myself and 3 other people, we had a pretty decent showing, but we ended up being taken out by pirates during one of the races. Afterwards, my 3 other people said, "We're never going to do this again. This is crazy. We don't want to do this." And I was like, man, this was a lot of fun. I want to do some more with these guys. So one day, Crucian said something about, hey, if you guys want to help us out, just give us a shout. We'd love to have volunteers. I signed up as a camera person, and over the last 3.5 years, I have gone from camera person up the line to helping out with the organizing of the entire thing. It's been an absolute blast, and my heart belongs to Atmo Esports. It really does.
Nice. Yeah. And I full disclosure, I have been working with Atmo Esports in the past, off and on for 3 years now. I actually made a lore video for them for the Daymar Rally before it became official canon. So Like for instance, there's a Daymar Rally had its own lore about I think one of the stations that y'all use for the Daymar Rally is Dunlow, right? Is it Dunlow Station?
No, it's
Eager Flats.
Eager Flats, tubing mining facility, and the last one is Wolf Point.
Kudre Ore.
Okay, Kudre Ore. I believe there's Dunlow was mentioned in there as well before we even knew who Dunlow was. So that kind of came out there. So it's very cool. I always like to having Atmo Esports on to talk a little bit about their stuff because they're one of the oldest. It's one of the oldest groups that does stuff like this in Star Citizen now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. We've been doing this since the first Daymar Rally, which was I think 5 years ago. And then from there we kind of evolve, other events as the game, keeps being developed. So yeah, it's been about 5 years.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go through some of the discussions. I've got some questions to ask y'all. Feel free to answer as best you can, because, like I said, there is a lot of developments that have happened that have pointed towards a lot of new things for Atmo Esports. The first thing I'm going to ask both of you, and I'll start with you, Zool, and then we'll move up to Crucian. What does 100+ player server look like now? What does Daymar Rally look like in a 100+ player server?
So the Daymar Rally has always been a dream where we have as many people as Star Citizen will allow us to have in one spot, racing hover bikes, buggies, and trucks all at the same time, all on the same race course across the planet from point A to point B. We know that in so much as this is going to happen, that we're also going to have, and I use this all the time when I'm talking about the Daymar Rally, we're going to have a very Star Wars Episode 1 pod racer sort of situation where as these teams, 200 teams or even more, are racing across the desert, you're going to have people sitting on rocks that are taking shots at them with animus launchers or, sniper rifles. We're going to have tanks rolling up over dunes and trying to shoot the racers off the course. Above the ground, our security forces are going to be in an active combat zone trying to fight off raiders and pirates and other ne'er-do-wells as they try to come down and destroy teams or bomb the track or, interrupt it and just cause chaos, because that's what they do. They're there to cause the chaos. And in the future, our goal is to have all of this happening at one time. It is going to be the most exciting, chaotic thing that you've ever experienced in Star Citizen. However, due to 50-player servers, last year alone, in 2952, we had 14 50-player servers. Now, that's counting racer teams, that is counting our staff members, that is counting staff members on each one, camera people, and it's a huge undertaking. In 2953, with 100-person servers, it's going to allow us to hopefully collapse that into half of what it was. Although, with the popularity that Atmo Esports has with things like the Daymar Rally, every year we get a larger and larger group. So we still may end up with 14 100-person servers. And if that's what happens, we don't care. We're prepared for it. We love to see it happen, because the Daymar Rally is one of those races where we will not turn anyone away. We want everybody who wants to be a part of it to be a part of it. We have other events where the participation is limited for different reasons, but that's not the Daymar Rally. The Daymar Rally is if you think that you're good enough either by yourself or as a team of 4 people, come and try it and see what happens. So those 100-person servers are going to be so much fun for us, because it's going to allow us to really kind of condense what we can do on each server.
Nice. Crew, anything to add about this 100-player server stuff?
Yeah, so for the people that don't know out there, right, the Daymar Rally is pretty much something that is like the Dakar Rally. The Dakar Rally is a massive endurance race in Saudi Arabia. So pretty much what Corsair did, if you guys don't know who Corsair is, the managing director, he made the Daymar Rally. He kind of copied the Dakar Rally and made lore about it in-game, and it became the Daymar Rally. So it's a very long endurance race. For bikes, you're looking at 2 hours. For buggies, you're looking about 2 to 4 hours, and then for trucks, you're looking about 6 to 7 hours. Now, with 100 people servers, back then we only had 50, we would only have like 10 to 12 racers lined up, because for every team you can have 1 through 4 people. So now that we're going to have 100 player servers, now we're going to be able to have way more racers lined up, maybe 30, maybe 40 racers in one server, and it's just going to make the entire show a lot better overall, which I'm very excited about, because like as Zol said, instead of having 14, 50 player servers, we may have, 10 to 14 100 player servers. And during this time, we actually have CIG in the back end, and they have engineers, and they have a lot of stuff going on, because we are literally stress testing this game at that point. So, it's a group effort from Atmo, and it's an actual big group effort from CIG themselves as well. So
the whole community event, right?
Yep, all community event.
Joel, your mic seems to be a little sensitive, because we're picking up like a feedback with crew when you talk. When
my apologies.
Talking. Yeah, that should be fine. There we go. All right, let's go on to the next one. So people may know you from the Daymar Rally, but crew, I'll start with this. Why don't you tell us, what are the other things that well, actually, we'll do this since we'll get Jewel in there. What is your favorite thing to do other than the Daymar Rally? What's your favorite event?
So, so to get started on this one, right? So, Atmo Esports run 4 major events per year, and I'll break them down very, very easily. We just talked about the Daymar Rally. It's an endurance race. Very, very simple. Long distance race. It takes a lot of time for you to prepare with your team, and people should be practicing, because it's definitely a long race, but it's so much fun. And it only happens on that one day in January. So the next event that we have is a Stanton 7. We actually going to, instead of saying Stanton 7, we're actually going to rebrand that one to System 7, because we have Pyro coming out, and we want to take the Stanton 7 to different, systems. So the System 7 is a F1 inspired, racing league. So this is only like, you have to qualify. You have to have the fastest time pretty much in all of the competitors. The top 16 teams with the fastest times qualifies to be in the racing league. In the racing league, it takes you into 7 different tracks with 7 different vehicles, and it's pretty incredible. It's a point system, just like F1. Our next event is Fight or Flight. Now, this one we did for the first time last year. This is a PvP. All right, it's mainly 2v2 dogfighting. It's incredible. It's my favorite one. So if you are a PvPer and you love doing it, and you want to do it in a controlled environment instead of just going in the verse and actually, fighting some of the best PvPers in the world in Star Citizen, Fight or Flight is for you. And then our last event is the Hearst and Hurt Locker. Hearst and Hurt Locker, it's a pretty much a battle royale. It starts in the edge of a crater in the moon of Magna, and when the timer counts down, everybody jumps into the crater. Last man standing wins. But to answer your question, Paul, I think Fight or Flight by far is my favorite thing to do, because of the hype that it brings when you're seeing these teams really go at it head to head, man. Like, they're really the best of the best. And some of these things, like, these matches can last from 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So I think when we like got that entire 2v2 PvP scale in Fight or Flight, man, I think that it was something that really, really, like, the PvP community enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, I love the other events, but I just think PvP dogfighting is super special. It just reminds me of like dogfighting in Top Gun, and it's just so cool to watch. So
be truthful, crew. The only reason why Fight or Flight is your favorite is because I was part of the first Fight or Flight. That's the real reason.
That is true.
we got dead last. I got dead last in Fight or Flight, but I had a lot of fun. So it's a good time to come. Jules. Yeah, Zool. I'm just gonna say Zool. Zool. What's your favorite of the 4 events?
Oh wow! So
you have to pick your favorite child.
I think for me, my favorite has got to be the Daymar Rally.
Okay.
So Stanton 7 is a whole bunch of people come in, they all sign up, they do the qualifier. We only take the 16 fastest people out of the qualifier, and those become the teams. And then you follow these 16 teams for 2.5 months as they go from 7 different races across 7 different areas, using all of the ground vehicles that we have in the game, culminating in this last race where we have them switch from vehicle to vehicle as they go through. It's great. And I love it. It really is. The Hurston Hurt Locker, on the other hand, we allow anybody to sign up. So anybody that wants to, you can either go solo or you can go duo, either one. And we have two different categories. We've got civilian, which is pretty much anything but a tank, and we have the military, which I'll just give you a little tip here. This year, the Centurion may be in the military division. Ooh. I've still got some testing to do, but we actually may end up putting the Centurion in the military division. So we're looking forward to see what happens with that. But with that one there, it's kind of everybody runs to the last guy, and then there's just one person or team standing, and that's all there is. Then you've got fight or flight, and like Crucian said, it's really amazing because it takes us off the ground, allows us to go up into space or into atmosphere, whichever one we decide. And it's sort of more curated, though, because we can only have so many teams. So we kind of reach out to people in the community that we know are kind of into this kind of stuff. We find the ones that we want and we put them against each other. But the Daymar Rally is, you're sitting at a space station somewhere and you hear somebody mention it and you're like, ooh, you know what? I think I could do that. I can run a rover better than everybody else. Heck yeah, I'm going to do that. And then you get 3 guys or 3 girls or whatever, attack helicopters together. And you say, hey, would you guys like to put a team together with me? And we'll go out there. And if we win, we get all these really cool prizes and we get, this fame and stuff that comes with it. And if we lose, then what the heck? We had fun. And then you run out there and you do some practicing, you get yourself ready. And come the day of, you may make it the entire way, or you may not make it very far at all. And whichever happens, you've got that memory to say, I was in the insert year here of the Daymar Rally, and nobody can take this away from you. You get a cool jersey with your name on it, say, hey, I was in the Daymar Rally and I participated. So for me, that one there, and we keep on adding stuff. So last year we added the Spartan to the truck series. We know we've got stuff coming up like the G12s. We know we've got the X1 coming up at some point in time, and the Rangers. So, with all these things coming up, it's something we can always add to and allow more people to be able to become a part of it. So for that reason, I think that has got to be my favorite one.
So are you saying, have you confirmed the hover quads coming in this year?
I can tell you that the hover quad will indeed be in the bike division this year.
Okay. That thing is fast. I think it's maneuverable and fast. Cool. So it's probably one of the new favorites of the community as far as I've seen in terms of the bikes. So
the only downside is that it's also very fragile compared to the other bikes. Like the Dragonfly has definitely got more resilience to it than the hover quad does. The hover quad's a great vehicle, but with the Daymar Rally, as far as you're going, you don't want that thing to break up underneath you as you come down on a rock.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go on to the future of racing and such in Star Citizen. Let's start with you, Zool, on this one. With the new stuff that's being added, how do you think this might affect Atmo Esports? Do you think, or even just not even Atmo Esports, other racing groups and other racing minded individuals with things like the buggy races that are coming in and the revamp of the Arena Commander map? Where do you think racing is going to go in the near future with Star Citizen?
And Paul, it's not even that. They've also showed us that they're willing to go back and revisit things. So like you said, with the Murray Cup and those races coming up, and they're fixing those for 318, that's great. But they've also stated and already showed us in one of the ISCs that they are adding sort of more physics to the vehicles that are already there. The ability for the buggies to try to climb up the hill and then slipping back down. We have been doing this for a really long time. We help Star Citizen, or we help CIG by promoting and hyping up all of these things and the vehicles that are in them and the way that we do them. There are other, as you said, there's other communities out there as well that also do racing, whether it's air racing or ground racing, etc. And CIG has been intelligent enough to notice the niche group of people in Star Citizen that are into this kind of stuff, and some of them very heavily. I mean, there's people who make websites about it. There are people who have trackers. There's all these different things out there from the community, and they've said, you know what? It doesn't take us a whole lot of extra effort to support these people, as they are giving people something to do in this giant sandbox that we've created, and they are adding stuff to it nonstop. On the racing side, and maybe not even on the racing side, just on the vehicle side in general. And some of those things kind of work towards us as well and help us out. Like the being able to jump your buggy, 20, 30 kilometers in one jump on Daymar is crazy. However, once those new physics and stuff go in, instead of somebody being able to drive straight up a wall, now they may end up starting to slip as they get, halfway up, and they're going to have to start looking for different routes around those areas. So what they've done with like the buggy, the new kart racing is going to be amazing. Those tracks are absolutely phenomenal and really do make you think of like an arena sort of, almost like arena football where it's all kind of enclosed. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing if it's only going to be the Gray Cat buggy that can go on them, or will when the Rangers come out, will the Rangers be able to go on them as well? So I think that what we've got to look forward to as a community is CIG really doubling down and supporting all of the people who create these types of content, and sort of, helping us out, helping us to help them moving forward. And you can't beat that. You really can't.
Crew?
Did he cut out?
No, I was done.
He's done.
Oh, okay. I mean, so this is a great topic, right? Because a lot of people are, well, I heard whispers, people saying, oh, like, what's going to happen to Atmo Esports? Look, we're always going to be here. There's like, CIG can put a million tracks in a game, but there's one thing that everybody's forgetting that Atmo Esports bring is competitiveness, the nature of it, right? So, I mean, I don't know where you're going to find, everybody that wants to be as competitive. Yeah, you can make a group and go in game, but like, if you sign up for an Atmo Esports event, not only is it free to register, you're over here trying to win a trophy, prizes, and whenever the game has competitive integrity, which means there's no desync, there's nothing that can, that in your mind can say, hey, this is going to mess up my race. Once we have that competitive integrity where we feel like everybody can compete at 100%, that's where, Atmo Esports wants to start integrating prize pools. And I'm not talking about like $500. I'm talking about like a big prize pool for Stanton 7, Fighter Flight, Daymar Rally, like giving these winners, a prize pool of like $5,000 and really taking this stuff to another level. So, like CIG are doing a great job in trying to build that, that racing spirit in the verse, which I'm really, really excited about, because that's just going to make more people want to try our events. Because how many times are you going to run that track inside of Orison before you get tired and you want to do something else, or you run a race somewhere else? You know what I'm saying? So people are going to start coming to us. In Stanton 7, we make our own tracks. We do our own things. So that way it's all persistence. You're not just going to be racing in Orison only, right? You're going to be racing on Pyro. You're going to be racing on Arco if it has roads. You're going to be racing on Microtech. So, like, I really appreciate CIG doing this stuff, because it's just going to create more hype for the racing scene, and it's only going to help us kind of grow it a little bit more. Because, like, from what I'm seeing right now, the Daymar Rally, this is possibly going to be our biggest one yet with how the registrations are going. And, so I'm excited. It's not really going to affect us. It's only going to help us. And if CIG ever decides like, hey, we want to take this more serious and do competitive stuff, within the racing or within dogfighting, they already have a team that's doing it, which is Atmo Esports, and it's very, very easy. And then to touch on another point, right? Like, you have these tracks, right? The track that's going in 318, hopefully. You have SCR, which is Star Citizen Racing. Like I'm pretty sure CIG can, record times and maybe have the fastest person. But the thing is, SCR, when you go to SCR, like, you can have the fastest time in the world once you record it, and your name can be on there. Like, like I'm not saying CIG doesn't have that capability yet, but they really don't. It's not in game where you have a leaderboard, above the track saying these are the fastest times, your name is up there. They don't have that yet. So that's why SCR is also so great, because when you're racing on there, you can record it, upload it, and if you have the fastest time in the world, you're in a leaderboard on the website. So there's just so much great things coming out of the racing community. So I'm very excited to see what they continue doing to kind of help us out, because it's only going to get better for us.
Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to ask the other question. Crew and Zool, feel free to hop in on this one. Will we see, at least unofficial, Atmo Esports events with the buggy racing? Will we see Star Kart racing extravaganza Atmo Esports, where people are, Mario Kart racing their throwing their controllers kind of situation? We're gonna see anything like that?
Yeah, so no, 100%. Something that's actually coming up for us on August 27th is going to be our Great Cat Social. So we do throw small events across across the year on top of our 4 major ones that we just do it for fun, right? We tell the community, hey, come jump in for free RSVP. If you don't have a buggy, we'll provide a vehicle for you, because we have like 100 of them. So there's going to be times when that track comes out where we might, just celebrate it and just put something out there and say, whether it's on Twitter or Gilded or our Discord, hey, come RSVP, come join us. Let's do, a 50-man race, or let's do a small, a small event where, we'll give away some prizes, some in-game ships, and then let's go in the, in the track and race, like maybe we do heats of 8, and then, we start breaking them down. If the heats of weight, the top 4 move on, and we keep doing that until we have our top 8 teams. And, and so there's so much that we can do with all the stuff that they're putting in the game. Like that track may be in the next Stanton 7 next year, or System 7. So, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we'll be able to do, not only for competition, but for fun for the community overall.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that we have to do at Atmo Esports is, as Crucian said, we can't let anything get stagnant. So we are constantly evaluating, reevaluating, designing, and testing new styles of racing, new tracks, whether it be in the air or on the ground. I've got like 5 or 7 new tracks that are already in the background. We've already discussed them, and we've made maps for them, done fly-throughs. They're things that are already ready to go, and we're just holding on to them for when they come out. And it's the same thing with the new vehicles, right? So let's say, for instance, that the Tumbler Ranger, when it comes out, is not as fast as a hover bike, but faster than a buggy. So that Ranger then gets put into a place where it doesn't fit with our hover bike category, our buggy category, or our truck category in the Daymar Rally. So does that mean that we're going to have to create a whole new division just for the Tumbler Rangers? Maybe not. Instead, what we might do is we might create a different style of race, a whole new series specifically for the Rangers, that has them driving up the side of buildings on Orison, or zipping through the tunnels, on Microtech. And you just really never know. So we've got to always continuously design and reevaluate everything that we do in order to make sure that everybody gets something new, and it's not always the same thing. And sometimes CIG helps us in that matter, because they've got their planetary tech team, and we did the Daymar Rally, and the next year it was different, and the next year it was different, and the next year it had lots of rocks on it, and then the year after that we had to lengthen it by 200 kilometers, because they changed the planet yet again. And you never know, between now and 2023, when the Daymar Rally comes out, there may be a giant crater in the middle of what used to be the track, and then we'll, sort of redesign and work around it. And it makes it a lot of fun, actually.
Awesome. One more thing before we finish up with the last question. With the redesign of the Murray Cup racing that they're going forward, do you plan on implementing that at all into your event schedule?
I will.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will be 100% honest with you. We're leaving. We love the community, man. So anybody that wants to either come up with something new or try, something different, we kind of don't tend to push into their space. So right now we have XGR, who's doing a great job with with them put it on races for for ships. So we're kind of staying concentrated on the focus, which is our 4 main events. It's going to be PvP, an endurance race, a racing league, and then a battle royale. And then the battle royale is going to sooner or later, it's going to evolve into something else. It can be like 20v20. Now that we have bigger servers, it can be an entire tournament in Theaters of War if that ever comes out. So we're gonna let XGR continue doing the ship racing. I would love to work with those guys to kind of elevate their platform a little bit in production, but I think they're doing a great job, and I feel like they they got something there. They're keeping the community together. So I don't think I want to step on their toes. I'm gonna let them do. I don't think Atmo Esports is gonna step on their toes. We're gonna let them do their ship flying stuff and let them concentrate on that part of racing while we concentrate on the other parts of the game as well.
All right.
Yeah, they'll more than likely have a circuit or a series that happens in those tracks, and they do a good job. So it's easier to help each other out. And it's not just us and XGR that are doing this in the community. Croncy does a bunch of races on his own. He creates events. We've got so many amazing people in the Star Citizen community, and there are lots of groups that come forward, or even individuals that come forward and create this engaging content that continues to be dynamic and is all being created in the sandbox that CIG's created for us. And it works out really good when we help one another. Croncy comes and races in the, actually Croncy was in the Stanton 7, and so was XGR. Both of them had teams represented in the Stanton 7. And when they put on stuff, we always reach out a hand and say, hey, can we help you out? Or maybe we'll even, you never know, maybe you'll see an Atmo Esports team in one of XGR's races, possibly. We'll get Crucian to fly that.
By the way, I want to jump in and say one quick thing. I didn't say this in the beginning. I work for Astro Gaming and Light Tech, and I'm the esports manager there. I've been working in esports the second I left the Navy back in 2018. So this is all I do every single day. So I promise you, when I talk about esports, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've said this a million times. If CIG ever decides to ever want to do something that has, I'm not going to say esports yet, but if the game ever has, that 100% capability where racers can have, race to their best of their ability and have competitive integrity, I'm down to put an entire program together. So that's all. I'm gonna leave it right there.
What I'll say is, CIG, please hire Crucian to make an actual Murray Cup that can be filmed and projected throughout the verse in its own server in the PU. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say that.
The Murray Cup server,
actually.
The Murray Cup server.
Well, I mean, like the way that CIG is building the game, they could theoretically have a place where you could go, hey, go here, and you take this elevator, and it'll take you through to this dedicated server, and then you just can have cameras that could be set up to project all throughout the verse. People could just turn onto their various channels and Spectrum and watch it live while playing game. I'd love to see something like that. And that's the technology they have.
That was the goal. Yeah, that was the original goal. When I remember Chris talking about how you'd be able to sit in your 890 jump watching on the screen as races were happening and somebody was filming it in the makeup. That kind of stuff is still the dream, and we're still looking forward to it. I hope.
Nice. All right, so we'll wrap this up with a discussion about the future of not just Atmo Esports, but in general with racing and events like this. I'll start with you, Crew, on this. What would you, if you had a wish list that you could hand to CIG and say, these are the tools or the aspects we need to improve the experience, or just even make brand new things, come up with new ideas, new tools or new aspects of the game to improve racing and improve these sorts of events, what would it be?
So one thing there's so many things that we could do to improve everything. And one of them is the biggest issue that we currently have. And this is one of the big reasons why, a lot of other tournament organizers don't even want to touch Star Citizen. The biggest thing is the spectator mode in the verse. Now, there's never going to be a spectator mode in the verse, but maybe having a ship where people can have camera drones, and those camera drones, they're either sitting all in a ship in like a production van, but with drones, and we can use that feed in the game to, so that way, they don't have to worry about fuel. They don't have to worry about, like trying to go back, refuel to come back and start, recording with a camera. I know a lot of people are saying Mako right now, but the thing is, the Mako, you still have to go and refuel it and redo everything. So having like a ship where you can just land, stay steady, and have like 6 people go in there, and you can use their video feeds from from their game, it would be incredible. It has unlimited range and all that good stuff. That's one thing that I've been kind of speaking about for quite some time. Some other things are like, racing flags. We can make our own checkpoints with like, maybe like smoke flares or something. The small little tools that we can use in game other than, the ship that can have like a camera bus where people can have like little drones where they can be cameras. I think an entire racing kit that could one day be in the game where we can use to kind of set up races would be so important. And it'll just make our life easier because we have to go and take box missions, and then we share that mission with everybody so everybody knows where that checkpoint is at. Now, if we had a racing kit where we can drop a racing flag, here's the finish line, share this with everybody, now everybody knows where the finish line is, or maybe checkpoint 1 or maybe checkpoint 2. It will make our life so much easier to have those, I would say those 2 things, overall to put on a way better show.
Zool?
Unfortunately, Crucian kind of took mine because we at Atmo Esports are discussing this all the time as a group. So, we kind of all have the same exact thoughts. The only thing I would probably add to what Crucian said, so my idea for the camera drone ship was pretty much take the Vulcan, which is already being created, and instead of having 4 drones, make it 8 drones, so just lengthen it a little bit and have that exact same thing Crucian was talking about. The only thing I would add to what he said is when it comes to doing these events, we have to have all of the racers and participants in the party with us. We have to have all of our staff members in the party with us so that we can kind of keep track of everyone. So when we are showing these things on stream, you see thousands of blue, tags for everybody's names and stuff moving across. It would be great to be able to have the ability to filter things out so that you could create, subgroups. And so you would only be able to see, like, staff members would only be able to see the racers and no other staffs. The racers would only be able to see the staff members and no other racers, so that, you could kind of filter out who you're seeing on screen, which would then make, because there are times when I'll ask one of our camera people, hey, can you guys tell me who's in first place? And they're like, yes, there's a giant blue blob of 1,000 names together, and we have no idea who's in first place. And then we have to try to, sort all that stuff out. So that would probably be the only addition I would say to what Crucian said. But those 3 things are definitely on our CIG wish list.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd agree with you. And I think some people in chat are a little bit more pessimistic about additions, but what I just heard from you, from y'all, those 3 things are things that we could see in the game. Yeah, things like cameras are great for broadcasting, but they're also good for spying on an enemy location if you want to try to take it out. And having a drone is much harder to spot or detect. You can launch it up and send it over to a location and scope out, see what's going on. For exploration, say there's a wreck, you don't know who's on or what's on that wreck, you just send a little camera drone in first to see what's going on. Those sorts of aspects are aspects of the game, and being able to filter out all this information is important for we actually the last show I had was with 2 2 vets who we were talking a little bit about military aspects in Star Citizen, and one of the things they talked about, was information control and information flow, and having to, for like large fleet battles, you need to know who's where and when and why, and you can't be overloaded with it. You need to be able to dictate what's going on, and being able to just turn off names and just be like, I need to know the racers, and that's it. Is one of those modes, would be similar kind of idea for information control and flow. And of course, everyone would want to have little things that they could set up for their own checkpoints, for their own events, for their own, maybe even like waypoints where you can just say, hey, boom, it's right here, and then share that waypoint with everyone, and now everyone knows exactly where you're going to go, so you don't have to fiddle around with trying to know coordinates or anything. Just plop a little icon down and tell everyone, hey, this is where it is. So.
And the amazing thing is, if you look at last week's ISC, where they were showing, like, if you remember that new, well, I don't want to say new, but if you notice the little MPUV ship there with that sort of holographic banner around it, imagine having like a holographic start line and a holographic end line. All you'd have to do is put down a box or something, and it would just pop it up. And then same thing for the for the checkpoints, you could throw it on a box and just have it shoot a beam of light in the air. And you could say, checkpoint 1 is the green beam, and checkpoint 2 is the yellow beam, and checkpoint 3 is the purple beam, and then they'd be able to see those things. Because one of the problems we have is when we are doing ground races, the ground UI system is not as advanced as the ship UI system. So when you are in first person in a ground vehicle, you do not see, or you're able to see all of the tags and stuff. But when you go to third person, which is the way that most people race due to being able to see rocks in front of them and all that kind of stuff, they end up being in a spot where they cannot see the endpoint, the check marks. They cannot see anybody at all. I mean, they literally do not see any UI stuff at all. And it puts them in a spot where they have to keep on switching back and forth between first and third. So having that big beam of light in the distance that you're aiming for just makes it super easy to just go straight.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, last thing I want to add to that real quick, Paul, is that I know a lot of people probably want us to mention like a compass system in the vehicles. Unfortunately, like if I was told, and this is not like any private information, I was told that, for them to do any compass in vehicles, like they would have to really create poles on every single planet and every single moon. And that's something that's going to take a lot of time. So I think it's just, to me, the easier way would be to just make a racing kit where we can have checkpoints and do all of that. Because sometimes right now when you're racing, you don't really know where you're going unless you keep looking at the star map, and the star map is not that great right now. So yeah,
it's garbage. It's hot garbage.
But like everything in Star Citizen, it's being worked on.
It's being worked on. Yes, we know it's being improved upon. Well, thank you all for coming on. We're going to be moving on to the question and answer session. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact on YouTube, make sure that you are following Atmo Esports on Twitch and I believe YouTube as well, right? It's under Atmo Esports.
Yeah.
Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. It's all Atmo Esports.
All Atmo Esports. Go check them out and watch their events. Watch their smaller events. Just go check out their work. And if you, especially if you're watching this after the fact, we'll be moving right into the question and answer session. But y'all will see it in a couple of days. I'll make sure to have a link that'll be popped right above Crucian Head if you're watching this on YouTube. You click that link and you'll go right to it once it's up. And for the rest of you watching on Twitch, hang around, stick around, ask questions, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.